Welcome back to this week's episode of the Path of Purpose podcast with the Brotherhood team, where just like you, we are walking a path to living a life on purpose. Today, what you can expect to receive on the podcast is we all dive in and talk about the importance of grounding and presence. With Cass coming into his 18th fight this weekend, he shares a few tips and an insight into the life of a fighter. And then we also share into our own personal lives on how we have personally overcome adversity. So tune in, get ready to take some notes if necessary, and see if you can draw some parallels to our personal stories with that of your own.
Welcome back to the podcast, The Path of Purpose, episode number 5. And we have Guy, Cass, and myself, Curtis, once again. And we are going to start with our wins, lessons, and a mantra or motto going into the week. And we'll start with Mr. Anderson.
Hello, good morning, good
Morning,
afternoon.
mate.
Wherever you are, hope you're well. My mantra this week, or my wins from wins and lessons. Wins last week were I purchased Tyron Mowbray's motorcycle, second hand, but he's moving across to Perth, so had him on the podcast earlier, and so he wanted to get rid of his motorbike. I've been longing to get my hands on a motorbike. Just, I don't know, every time, people go back and they say, go back to a time in your childhood. Adam Green often leads meditations and stuff like that. Go back to a time in your childhood where you felt most alive and most connected, most free. And those moments for me are on a motorbike. And we're selling the truck. I'm not going to say downgrade. I'm going to say I'm going to transition to the motorcycle for the interim, while I don't want to be rushed into a decision of, I've got to get a vehicle and make a spontaneous decision that I'm not fully 100% invested in. So motorcycle I am 100% invested in for the time being. So that's a win, getting that. And then on Saturday I just did a time audit on my life and where I'm feeling just taking the time to recognise where I am wasting my time, or I'm not prioritising my time correctly, and so just did a full sit down and breakdown of that, and just recalibrated that in 3 areas. I actually broke it down into my training, so prioritising that, and then I was doing work was my second priority, and then my third one was relationships. So building my structure and in terms of just my week and how I can make sure I don't miss the mark on any of those. I passed Kyle out on a run on Sunday after a podcast last week because I realised, you influenced me there, Kurt, to try and do some sort of movement every day. So just went out for a little 5K run and passed a few people on the way that we knew, and Sam Fury ended up running with him, and it was a good time. And so those are my wins for last week. And I did my lesson was I did a kinesiology session in here actually on Friday, and she said she's recognised I'm quite airy, I'm a Gemini. My sign's air. I'm quite spacey, and that's why I needed the grounding with my priorities, because I can just go from one task to another and then just kind of end up being in this repetitive circle. But she gave me a visualization process where I just have to go in those moments of overwhelm. So that's my link to my mantra as well, which is in times of overwhelm, head underground or send roots underground. And I've got to come back to the present moment by just grounding my feet in, closing my eyes. And she said a technique of having a feeling of my feet being connected to the earth and sending roots into the ground, and to just deeply become grounded in that visualization process of these roots going deep beneath the ground, that then also allowing the sensation of then, once I feel like I've done that, to connect to the earth and then draw some of the energy from the mother back up into my being, and just landing me back in the present moment, and hopefully coming back to the space or wherever I'm at with a bit more presence, more focus, and more groundedness. So I think that covered all the topics: the mantra, the lesson, and the win. And overall good week last week.
Yeah, that sounds great. And be interesting to find out next week how that all went with the time audit and practicing the grounding and all that. So sounds like lots of structures going in.
Yeah, I definitely feel last week was like foundational. Like that's my found now is set, and now I can build upon it.
Cool.
So yeah, it feels good.
Awesome.
Feels good.
Are you Cass?
Cass man.
For me, last week I was coming off a pretty sleepless night flying home from Bali. So I think just basically grinding it out and sticking to my processes while I was a bit tired was probably the biggest win.
Yeah.
You called it a red-eye flight this
Yeah,
morning,
yeah. So,
I'd never heard that term, but I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, so
what is that term for the listeners?
just overnight, basically.
Yeah.
Red eye. You get
Red
red
eye.
eye.
Red
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
explains it completely.
I reckon I got probably 2 hours.
That's-
Which obviously makes it, yeah.
That's a wink of sleep, they
Yeah.
say.
Standard red eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is pretty tough going straight into obviously the week as it is. But yeah, I was pretty stoked with how I kept my habits in check.
Yeah, nice.
And then my lesson would be how that kind of has impacted the later half of last week, and then obviously this weekend and this week now coming up as well. Because I could have not done that and then been chasing ass for the rest of the week. But I feel pretty good about it now this week, and got the fight coming up. So yeah,
This
we're
weekend,
on, we're
big
on.
fight.
yeah. My mantra for the week would be just to be where my feet are. So like something I say to myself a lot is be where your feet are, and I'll have a look down and
That's
just
beautiful,
get
yeah.
really present. Yeah, a couple deep
So
breaths.
grounded. Is that a fighting mantra as well?
For me, yeah. So the first thing I'll do when bell goes, I'll go straight to the. Thanks, guy. I'll go straight to the straight to the corner and look straight down at my feet. So if you're watching the fight, you might notice that.
Really?
And then take 2 big breaths.
Yeah,
It
cool.
sort of just makes
Put you
me
in the
present.
moment.
Yeah. And I think a big thing for me for the week is just enjoying everything.
Yeah, that's it.
I try to be really, present with fight week. Don't let nerves or anything get in the way of the actual joy of doing what you're doing. So,
Yeah, you choose to do it.
yeah.
That's awesome. Myself, wins. I think a win from last week is like the feeling of momentum to a degree. Like we had these guys that contacted me that we talked to in the past, and then they're like, "Hey, I want to come on for the challenge," and it was like, "Oh, sick!" You know, it was like momentum of maybe what you've done, and it's just like you didn't even have to. I didn't really have to do anything for it. Like, and they just sort of decided to come on.
For context as well, if I may. So yeah, Kurt, you sat like one guy that decided to come on board or come through and received a text from January, 3 months ago, where Kurt initially sat with this man and obviously walked through, and then he just gets a text out of the blue saying, "Hey, I'm ready to come on board now. I'm ready." And so that work, that labour that was invested 3 months ago, is now sort of coming to fruition, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so that feeling of momentum, of just showing up and doing things, and then if you keep doing it week in, week out, things will happen. That's physics, right?
Science.
Yeah, I believe it was Einstein who said that.
Einstein. That's it.
Albert.
Shout out Albert. My lessons. I think my lessons. I've had it like a little bit of a tight body probably the last week. And I reckon the lessons is we were sort of discussing as housemates last night with Georgia and Peter and Guy. I feel like might need to tap into alone time, my own self, tune into my own body a little bit. So just maybe my energy's been a lot outward of recent. I had some great time with my partner this week, and then we can also chill without talking and all that. So that's kind of that alone time as well. But this week, I want to carve out like some alone time, so like a hike by myself or something like that, and just sort of not even use that time to like even try and think of something or ideas or something. Just sort of like just enjoy the walk and just have some time alone. So that's a lesson. I think I just need to tap in there. Maybe I don't know if that's signs to tap into my body as it being tight, and also stretching. I reckon get on top of that.
What's your mantra for the week?
Mantra.
Does that lead into a mantra?
Yeah, let's go. A mantra for the week. Let's go. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go see it through.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just come up. I don't even know what it means, but that just come up from within.
I like that.
It's just see it through.
I've heard that mantra before. It's served me well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah. Nice
Yeah,
work.
So that's our wins, lessons, and mantra, and we always invite you at home to do that.
Yeah.
A big part of what we do is reflection. So we can take order on what's going on, and then learn lessons from the past, and then have a mantra going into the future that's going to help set us up. It's very powerful, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll
practice.
Yeah. So the first question we're going to go into today is we're going to share a challenge that we overcame. So a hard challenge that we overcame that maybe you didn't think you could do it. And what did you do to overcome it, and what lessons did you get from it?
Yeah, I kind of want you to take the lead on this there, Cass, man.
For me, I'm going to go...
Please.
Yeah, no, it's right. I'm going to say an injury that I overcame was my ankle reco, which then led into some hamstring issues as well. So they took my hamstring graft and then basically put it in my ankle as the ligament. I think we've spoken about it on a podcast previously where the moment my ankle actually went was like a moment of relief.
Yeah.
So
that.
I knew it was coming, and it was something that I was pretty well prepared for, but it was still really hard because sport was my life. I mean, it is my life, a part of my life anyway. But at that moment, I probably didn't have much else outside of footy. So I think me needing to slow down, being forced into that, was massive for me. I overcame that through consistent rehab and stuff like that, and just being really persistent. Yeah, really persistent on that. The process of it all. So I think that just taught me the power of being consistent.
Yeah, and what did you sort of learn? Is that what it taught you?
Yeah, I think so. I think
consistent.
that. So it taught me one of the things that I do like to do is work with other people's bodies and injuries as well. And I think that really taught me how to rehab injuries quite well through my own experience.
Yeah.
And not just reading books and
so what sort of if you could give just a little overview approach of how you sort of rehab injuries, is it do you have kind of a way you go about it at all?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing that I would always think about is getting someone to be really aware of their pain in their body. Is it actually pain, or is it just a little bit of discomfort? Because resting isn't always the right answer, and I think getting yourself to the point of discomfort where it's not causing any more injury is really important to heal injuries. I think you spoke about it last week with the shoulder.
Yeah, movement medicine. And
100%. So for me, it was just creating a whole heap of little mini micro workouts that I could do with my ankle, my hamstring.
Yeah, cool.
May not have been recommended at the time, but I got back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't miss a game of footy, so.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
What stuck out for me and you saying that is rest isn't always the best preventative or healing approach, because I know when some people get injured it's just fully go into rest mode and just don't do anything, and that can almost be detrimental as well.
You're telling your body that you're dormant and you're giving it no signals to. It's I'm not using this anymore. Probably a bit of movement, blood flow, so it's hey, helps with that repair, I reckon, to a degree.
Well, that's I've had countless injuries, but there's no muscle wastage on any of it, you know what I mean? So I think just you see people that they, do their ankle or their knee or whatever, and then they lose half their leg in the process of trying to heal it. And then they've got to try to come back from having half a leg, you know, like all that wastage of muscle and you're not using it.
Do what you can.
Yeah. I know we're on the challenges and stuff like that, but like for the viewers and like even for myself, bro, like got this fight coming up this week, and I want to know a little bit more about it. I want to know, like, fill the viewers in. Like, I know that you are perceived as the underdog.
Yeah.
But we all know that you're the big dog. You know what I mean?
Big dog.
The big dog. So yeah, I don't know. How do you feel going into this? I know you're saying you just want to like stay stress free, and but where do you feel you are at in terms of readiness for this weekend?
I'm just excited, which I think is a really good place to be, especially for fighting when it's, you know, it could be quite nerve-wracking or whatever. But I'm not really nervous right now. I'm just like super excited about performing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my readiness. But I guess for the week the main thing is just trying to stay level-headed throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you could take into any aspect of life or sport is if you let emotion overwhelm you, you're not going to perform at all, you know.
Yeah, you've lost, whether it's like emotion of excitement to I know I've acted out of excitement sometimes and I put a foot wrong because I'm like lose that groundedness to remain, you know, steady. But then at the same time, the fear on the opposite side of like, oh shit, like you're going to make mistakes out of fear too. So it's like, that neutral,
the energy that you're acting out of matters, eh? Yeah, if you're grounded and calm, you can probably see more clearly, right? And make better decisions.
For sure. I think that, like, you'll probably notice it throughout the week. My mood kind of stays pretty level, I think.
Yeah.
Which it does most of the time anyway, but yeah, especially
it's
this
kind of
week.
got to, I guess.
Yeah.
From what you've told me as well and told us is what you weighed 73 kilos, you're going to get down to 65, is it?
67.
67. So, you know, 6 kilo cut there.
Yeah.
And you've got to do that within a week, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 days.
Yeah.
Kilo
It's sort of like, that's like a lot of fighters will say the fight before the fight.
Yeah.
But I use this,
fight,
I use this as an example for a lot of guys, you know, that stress about their weight going up or going down or whatever, weighing themselves like religiously. It's like you can manipulate your weight pretty quickly through water and through what you eat. So like stick to the process even if your weight goes up on the scales or whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say?
I was just going to say, like, if you could just speak on a little bit, like, how does it feel to have that sort of, like we're talking about when we're getting a coffee, that purpose of I have a fight, and it just gives you like this sort of purpose, like, how, you know what I mean?
Discipline.
Like how does that feel just in how you act in life, having this sort of North Star?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think this is why a lot of fighters struggle to retire, I think, because it gives them such like big purpose. And this is probably something that I've had to work on too when I've had breaks from fights, is not getting caught in like a big rut.
Yeah.
So I think me knowing now that there's more outside of fighting, it's taken a little bit of pressure off and it's going to allow me to perform better too anyway.
Yeah.
But as far as the purpose goes, it's like for the last few weeks, you know, like it's the thing, you know, like it's you kind of got to almost feel like nothing else matters. It's like this is what I'm doing. This is, you know, I'm going to put everything else aside for a second. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it probably takes away a lot of your worries just about maybe everyday life and just random stuff and
for sure. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, nice. Because I know you said as well. We were just speaking before, and you're like, you know, we're doing this podcast on Monday, so last night Sunday, and you're like, drank 7 litres of water last night. I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, it's a
few trips to the loo.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The discipline kind of has to, I mean, it's strict throughout the whole thing. But
why do you have to drink so much water?
So that basically creates your body. It's not good for you, right? But it's all like for sport, so I don't recommend it. But
because you'd pee out a lot of minerals, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so that's the point. So
that's the point.
Yeah, so your body will, like sodium and stuff like that, will hold on to water.
Roger.
So I'm trying to. It's partly the point, and then the other part is you're trying to almost drown your body. To the point where your body's like, all right, get rid of this water. And then for the last 24 to 30 hours of my cut, my body still feels like it's got a lot of water in it. So it's still going to...
And you stop the water, but it keeps getting rid of it. So then you lose that water weight.
So we've got like, there's a couple of different strategies, but there's a passive strategy, which will be from now or last night doing all that water to pretty much Thursday, Friday, where I'll slowly lose water and weight through just manipulating my food and drinking lots of water. And then the last bit is that acute sweating phase.
Yeah, right.
Which ideally we do as much as we can at the start of the week and then as little as we can at the end of the week. So I might have to sweat out a couple of kilos in the sauna, but a lot of guys will sweat out 6, 7 in the sauna.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like big cuts, and then they're the ones that are overheating and they're cooked.
Yeah. Because
So
there's that point of like, no return, you know, like you're getting marginal gain for very few off every additional probably
putting yourself
5
at
minutes.
death's door. Just about. Like,
and I've done like my first few weren't pretty, and I think like anything you get better and better.
Yeah.
Invest in it, and you know I did some work with some dietitians and learn how to do it properly. So
very important to know how to treat your body in that process, because it's a pretty inhumane thing, especially these day and age. You know, back in the days when way back, you know, even times of slavery and stuff like that, it would have been like pretty standard to be malnourished like that. But so your aim is to get down to 67 kilos, and then what do you want to be when you're entering the ring?
Pretty much what I am now, yeah.
So you'll boost back up another 6 kilos within like a day?
For sure, yeah. Within 30 hours, yeah.
Yeah, magic.
it helps, obviously, fighting later on. I think I'm co-main, so I'll be second last fight, I believe. Yeah. Which means I've got another 4 or 5 hours to recover. But I'll feel pretty good as soon as I have that first sip of water. And
it's all
I'm good.
That's good. What a process, eh? It's a full journey to the fight.
Yeah.
No, it's cool to let myself and everyone in on that lifestyle, because it can be probably pedestaled or epitomised, seen as pretty cool from the outside, but it's like actually in the fighter lifestyle, it's like, fuck, it's not all bloody rainbows and butterflies, brother. Yeah. And
you don't just go out there and get a knockout. There's a lot of training and bloody water weight.
I think, that's the thing that makes it cool though. Like for me, if I have a hard cut or a hard training camp or whatever, or I've overcome injuries, like I've done a heap of camps with like broken feet and whatever. And it's like
currently has a broken foot, by the
way. This will come out after the fight, so it's all good.
Don't let me know that.
But like once you overcome that fight where you've had that adversity, it's so much better.
Yeah.
Like if everything goes
smooth, feeling.
100%,
Yeah, it's interesting how it's like that.
How do you... This will be stepping in your 18th time into the ring, hey?
Yeah.
What... how has your nerves changed from that first time you entered the ring to where you are now? Like, how would you perceive yourself as having transformed?
I would say maybe not so much nerves, because I've played a lot of sport beforehand.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously still nervous about things at the start, and even now, like you just learn how to channel it, I think, a little bit better. But for me, it's probably being more present. Like, and I think that's what experience teaches you in the ring as well. But like, I can react decisively a bit more when I'm in the ring now.
Yeah.
And make better decisions and think about game plans, think about what round are we in, what part of the round are we in, what are we trying to do right now, rather than just like, go get them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if I into the ring, I reckon I'd be hard on defense the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon, the first time I come in, I might try and just try and land one out of chance, and then probably realise, get one thrown at me, and then realise, oh fuck, that's a pretty grounding moment. I'm actually in a fight right now, and then I'd just be on defense.
Yeah. It's a bit, I mean, a lot of people don't remember
just let them punch themselves out.
Yeah, a lot of people
don't... tactics.
A lot of people don't even remember their first fight because they're just like,
Yeah, so infested.
yeah, it's just a big blank moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was one fight. So here's the story for everyone. This
thanks.
is
Tune in,
quite
guys, tune
cool.
in.
Yeah, let's hear the story.
So probably one of my better performances against Michael Isaac, who's one of the best in New Zealand. That came off a fight where I got clipped in the second round. I won the fight. I got clipped though. It wasn't a knockdown or anything, but I don't remember from rounds 2, 3, and 4. So I only remember 1 and 5. So I was in between the...
He's an autopilot.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
In between the break, and my coach goes, one more round. And I was just like, what happened to the other rounds? Like,
Yeah,
I had
wow.
no idea.
It's like we skipped him.
Yeah. They just decided this is the...
Fast forward.
So you have
Yeah.
no recollection of like fighting in those rounds? or
Yeah,
anything?
so I was just
Wow.
like literally autopilot for it. And I dominated the fight. I did really well in that fight.
So you watched the tape.
I watched the tape back, and it was so sick to watch because I don't remember any of it.
Wow.
Yeah, right. That would be interesting. Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to like say is, I was so excited to fight the next fight, and I fought so much better that next fight because I was like, I got robbed of that opportunity of experiencing
Ah.
how well I fought last fight.
Yeah.
So it kind
So
of
you were
drove
more
me.
present.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So I think that's something that experience actually taught me a lot about being more present and like the importance of being excited.
Yeah, enjoying
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
actual process
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I got robbed of the moment.
Yeah.
For 3
Yeah,
rounds.
yeah. So pretty wild. But
Still got the W though.
yeah, I fought really. That was good fight too. But
Yeah, just can't. I mean, it was probably from getting clipped.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
brain was probably just
Yeah.
not, trying to survive, and then it's like I don't need to remember all this.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's
be
like
shut down.
yeah. There's a few lessons there. I think like the importance of going through those routines and habits. Because that's what comes out when you're autopilot, right?
yeah,
It's like,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
if you do something well so often, then you never learn how to do it wrong. You go autopilot, you do it well.
How does that, like, if we were to really look into this and for you to operate out of your subconscious, your conscious must have gone out. So what would have, for that to happen, like, where have you been struck in order for that to happen? Or do you know, like
Like
into
as
that?
far as the body, no idea.
Yeah, I
I
would
was-
just be interested
you were just
to know.
subconscious is like, so you're just going off your patterns, just fighting off.
Yeah, I
You know?
guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
can't
know how
speak
it
on
works.
that, but
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know because there must be a part of the brain that like just got numbed in that, but this other part of your brain still, the subconscious is
Yeah.
still active enough to.
yeah.
Well, yeah, he's probably
Step up.
still conscious to a degree, fighting, just can't remember.
But that's
it.
the, but that's
I don't know.
the thing is like, you know, if you're operating out of the subconscious, it's probably like survival. But then you're still in survival, holding your
Yes.
own. Like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean? It's like wow.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
but anyway, it was an interesting.
yeah, what a story. And that's cool how you learned from it. It made you excited to go into the next one.
Yeah.
and take it in. Like that's.
I remember after that fight, I was pissed.
Well, yeah.
Because all like I had my friends and stuff like, oh, what about that moment? Like,
I don't remember. Yeah, wow.
it's like this sucks. I did all the hard work and I don't remember any of it. But
Yeah.
What's the when we say like, oh, you're the underdog going into this or whatever, like what's that proportion of like how's that weighed?
This guy, yeah, he's a legend of the sport. So he's had over 100 fights. He's
Wow.
Yeah, very experienced and very good. And I'm going up in weight. So my last fight was the first fight I've had in this weight class, which I got a first round knockout. So I've held my own in the weight class.
Oh, give us some knuckles for that, bro.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
First round knockout, that's what we're after.
But yeah, it's only my second fight in this weight class, which I feel really strong and good about anyway. And like I said, like the excitement's probably one of the more important things about it for me. So I was cutting too much weight previously. I was getting down to 63, which bit of a
Lean
chore.
carcass.
And then it's like you're not excited to fight at that point. It's just sort of
Where's the food?
yeah, 100%. So
So what's your calories down to like during this week as you're...
this week they'll go back up.
Oh,
Because I'm not going to put on any... Yeah, so this is like the science of it,
so
right?
confused.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, how's this work? Yeah, talk to me.
So they'll go back up, but it's more about having low density foods, I guess. So
You said low fiber, right?
Yeah, low carb, low fiber, low sodium, but calories can go back up because I'm not going to put on fat at this point.
So what are you going to eat? Like,
So it'll be a lot of like I'll go from a leaner meat like a chicken breast to a chicken thigh.
Right.
Because I can get calories in without having carbs.
Uh-huh.
Then I'll have like green beans, asparagus, stuff like that is low fiber but still getting some veggies in.
So you won't be eating white rice?
No. Yeah.
I just thought I thought rice would be a little bit light, but then once you say it's like fiber.
But then it's carbs. So every gram of carbs holds about 3 grams of water, I think it is, something like that.
Right, yeah.
So if I can cut all that out, I'm going to lose.
So it's really like body manipulation.
100%,
stuff.
yeah. It's just water manipulation
Yeah,
in your body.
water. It's not necessarily losing fat or anything like that, you know. It's just, it's like manipulating through sodium and water. And
there's been weeks where I've had probably like 3 jars of peanut butter, avocados, like
really?
just where I'm just pumping calories in, but it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
obviously you don't want to go crazy with your gut eggs, but anyway.
What's that movie? The Fighter, is it? With there's Brad Pitt in it, and who's the other guy?
Club.
Batman. Yeah, Fight Club. That's him.
Yeah.
And who's the other guy? It's the Bruce Wayne guy, and his name is. You don't know?
The main character. I know you do.
Fuck, I wish I know his name. Yeah. Anyway, but those guys got down to 55 kilos. And because he went from Batman, where he came in at like 87 kilos or something like this, and then he dropped Christian Bale, thank you. And he dropped right down to 55 kilos. Like that fluctuation was like 30 kilos, you know? And then
it's crazy.
Yeah. And then just apparently like there's a Christian Bale, you go on and search this up, guys, and the thing, but it shows like between his movies, like how long and the fluctuation of weight that he had to change between. Like, what does that do, like that, to the body? What does that do to, like, would that be dangerous, or is that, is it, you know,
I don't think
is it
it's
healthy?
Necessarily healthy.
No.
If you're going through these huge fluctuations.
Peaks and troughs of weight. Yeah.
It's for sure not good.
Why?
Why is it not good?
Stresses the body, I think, like the internal system, and so you're going through survival mode, and then I don't know, getting real big, and then like having to survive again, dropping down, you know. Just like instinctively, like it doesn't feel like that would be healthy.
No, I agree.
You want to think like the extreme of either end is not good. So massively undereating is not good. Massively overeating is not good.
Yeah.
Which again, that's what I like. That's why I went up in weight class because I wasn't performing properly.
Yeah.
Undereating and it was creating a lot of fighters go through like body dysmorphia, weight issues, stuff like that, because they're cutting the whole time. Fight's over, that's the peak for a second. They'll just overeat for 2 weeks. That could binge out to a month, and then they're fat, and they go, "How do I get back in shape? Undereat,
Paddy Pimblett,
get fat."
Yeah.
So like this has been much. This weight class is much more enjoyable, and I can keep my healthy habits after fight too, rather than me feeling like I need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to that extreme, so you don't have to like bounce back.
Yeah.
You know.
And even after, so Friday night I'll weigh in, and then like we spoke about, I've got to get back to a certain weight that I'm happy to fight at. Prior to that, I'd be eating just shit, and as much shit as I could, because I've been starving myself. You know what I mean? So now I'm not cutting as much. It's like, okay, I can put water back in first, then rehydrate properly, all of that stuff.
It's weird how like us humans have this like balance mechanism within us, where it's like if you like bodybuilders as well, like if they're shredding and all that stuff, and then they're not eating food, and then their comp's over, and then it's just like boom, the other end of the spectrum, you know. It's like it's almost like, you know, it seems like they almost can't help themselves sometimes. It's just like this instinctual primal DNA being like, I've been starving, I need to like eat heaps, because who knows, I don't want to go back down there, you know, like just the DNA sort of stuff.
The homeostasis is like where homeostasis is, that's holistic. That's you know where what we're advocating for as well. I feel
balance.
Yeah, ready into sorry.
That's the lesson for the listeners, I think, is if you're trying to cut weight, like trying to cut fat or whatever, the closer you can stay to your natural amount of calories or whatever for longer, the better.
Yeah.
So I think try not to go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consistency is the key, I think.
That's yeah, and even like we had one of the fellas talking down there this morning at 6:30, Riley, and he was saying about how he's just completed his first week of the challenge, and you know he's had he's utilised the challenge to try and achieve a lot within himself in terms of knocking old habits out and replacing them with good ones. But it's a lot to go from, living a life of Hungry Jacks, of, drinking energy drinks and blah, 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 vaping or cigarettes or stuff like this. And then to go, right, okay, this challenge, I'm going to do a complete 180 and then just cancel all of that past life. And then suddenly become this optimized human that only functions on what's good for him. And that's almost, that switch as well is almost unhealthy as well, because it's got to be a gradual thing. And even Adam Crichton suggested a really good replacement for, I hope Riley don't mind, but like he's quitting vaping and he's reduced his hours down to now he goes 15 hours without, and he's been slowly regressing in the amount of hours, which I think is cool. I think it's a gradual, sustainable process where he can wean himself off it. But he said, how about every time you go to reach for the vape, you reach for a bottle of water and have some water, because then by the time you've probably scalded enough water, you don't want to touch the vape or whatever. You probably like, I'm full. I don't know. So I was like, that's a good suggestion. It's replacing it with a healthy habit, and that would be an atomic habit. So they'd suggest that. Hey,
For
something
sure.
like that.
Yeah, for sure. Just replace it with something. Yeah. And sometimes, they're going to probably feel enough pain or have a big enough reason why to change, And I think if you're making that change from one extreme to the other, that's hard. So often it's like small steps work, but you got to have those powerful pullers that are making you change as well, whether that was pain or a strong enough why.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
How about you
So,
guys?
let's get back on track.
Yeah,
Challenges.
I'm glad. Thanks for sharing it. It was for my own selfish, I wanted to take that opportunity, but I think it's cool to share with everyone as well, because there'll be a lot of people that are like so interested in that lifestyle and that way of living and what it's like to prep a week out from an intense fucking fight, man.
I'll have to tap in after the fight.
Yeah,
For sure, like a lot of people don't know all the behind. Yeah,
No.
I can understand that, because some people will come up and just sort of.
I would prefer to live vicariously through you in these moments.
Yeah.
I understand what goes on, but I won't go through it.
My training's hard enough, bruh. My challenge is a bit different. Because I didn't want to spend too much time thinking about what it was. I mean, there's a few times that come to mind where I'm like, being pretty broke, trying to do this, sleeping on the gym floor and not having much space myself. I think I mentioned that on one of the first podcasts. So I went elsewhere and I was like, what really was a challenging moment for me? And I think it was living a life of comparison. I think where I was, moved home to New Zealand, I really got an opportunity because all these, for COVID, so for context, 2020, was living in Sydney, was living a really cool life, I believe, like by my own sort of terms. Like I moved away from New Zealand, so formed this kind of people on the outside would perceive as a new identity, but really it was me just becoming more of myself without the limitations of those that were holding me back, that I've been brought up with my entire life. And so I get to be exactly who I wanted to be and just look into these areas of that I kind of desired, and expressing myself in different ways there. Like I'm talking like clothing and shit like that, and then, worked in a bar and stuff like that. And then, COVID hit and got sent back home to New Zealand. And when I was working in the bar, I didn't have much money there either. Like I was managing to save still and stuff like this, but I remember getting back there and during COVID, and I wasn't receiving any financial remuneration or anything like that, and so yet again went back was broke at it came up to my 25th birthday, and I thought, oh shit, I'm pretty old here now, like I should have life figured out and all this sort of, like the I feel like people could relate with that at 25 or something like that. Like, shit, I'm supposed to have life all figured out now, you know. Shit, I'm 30 in 5 years, you know, which is still ages away. You got ages. And yeah, I then got the opportunity on my 25th birthday. I remember I just completely journaled, and I just went nuts, and I just looked at what I did have in my life and found gratitude for that. And yeah, and then I came to this place, although I was living in my father's house, broke, no money, no job, and didn't have a lot, but on my 25th birthday, I was like, finally, the 25th birthday was my birthday where I didn't compare my life to that of my peers. And it was because once I came to that place where I'm like, I'm actually pretty solid. Like, I've built some good skills. I've got good friends. I've, had an opportunity to find my own authenticity in who I am, and that's okay. And then after that, like, the universe kind of opened up for me and gave me these experiences to dive in and reconnect with my old friends who I was pedestaling their life against my own. So I went out to these guys, like, farms, and they're working. They've got the cars, and they've got the girlfriend, and they got the bit of money, got a good job and stuff like this. And I got to go to these guys and like visit them and reconnect, and then go, man, I wouldn't trade my life off for what you guys have. And that was just the letting go of the comparison. But I feel living in a state of comparison for me was just so crippling. Like, it was always, poor me, I deserve more. Like, it was and it's hard to escape, like it was for me. And I know that it's there's good parts of comparison where it's like enough to fuel you to be like, what that man has, or what that guy has, or what that woman has, that's what I want, and it's motivating. But then the part where it's like, oh shit, like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be that, or oh, that guy's got it way easier than me, or that guy's doing so much better than me, or whatever. That was debilitating. That was crippling for me. And so to have that, to forgive myself, I feel, and the process where I had nothing, and then to have those moments unfold for me, and then was really the silver lining in the moment there. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that you've still got that comparison bit? Instead of comparing to material things, you're now comparing to values and the type of people are, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I would, yeah, it's like a conversion.
Like, that's the driver right now, is like...
Yeah, it's there's one, Brandon Westcott said to me, he's like, and the word he used initially was envy. He's like, what I envy about you, guy, or something like this. And then I could tell it when he said it, he was like, hang on, that wasn't the right word. Like, I didn't use the right word there using envy. But he like put it out there, and he's like, oh yeah, what I envy about you is your commitment to just keep showing up, or something like that. And then he came back to me like a few days later, and he said, the word that I wanted to use wasn't envy, it was admire. And I think that's such a good word to use in terms of, hey, what I admire in you, because then it gives it that energy of like, oh yeah, that's like something I would love to have for myself. But envy kind of comes into a lower desire-y sort of emotion, and I use it down here, like the vibration of desire being less than. And instead of admire is like, oh, I seek to like, it holds a more positive sort of frame, I feel.
It's like the crab in the bucket kind of word, envy.
What's the crab in the bucket?
If you put a bunch of crabs in the bucket,
they
won't let each other climb out. They'll keep pulling each other back in.
Pull each other down.
Crab in the bucket.
Poppy syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you sort of alchemised the comparison thing. So it happened a lot when you were journaling, and then like real heavy, and then you went out and seen these people's lives, and you're like,
yeah, I can honestly say that journaling healed me in that comparison state, and it's because I gave myself the fucking time. I didn't have a job. I was stuck in home. We were isolated. I was grateful to be with my dad, and I remember I was sitting by the fire, like I was sitting by the open fire, and then I was like, fuck, how good is this? Like, I'm sitting by an open fire, I'm journaling, like I'm getting an opportunity, or taking the opportunity to learn about myself through going through, and then I just got addicted to it, man. Like I remember it, like it's just like one of the greatest periods of my life, that, because it was just full self-inquiry and self-discovery and
went right in.
Yeah, went in, and it was so good. Yeah, it was a really healing.
How do you not get
process and
like
stuff.
stuck in that loop of, because like I think it's good to go within, but I feel like sometimes people can get stuck going within. They're like,
Totally,
oh
bro.
right, I need to just keep going within, because it's obviously you've did that big process going within, but you know your life is a lot putting energy outward. So how do you not, because you said that was a great time, how did you not like get stuck in that loop, or you know?
That's the thing, hey, and great question, because I think a lot of people can struggle with that too, and that's, often people will look, I'm going to use this example that I often hear is like when there's some spiritual people get too spiritual, and then they just sit there and meditate for days on end, but don't do nothing, and like never bring their creation to life, or their wisdom. They're not sharing that wisdom with others. So for me, I think by my natural proclivity, my nature is like I'm a pretty doing sort of person. So that's why for me to go inward was pretty fucking hard. Because I always feel like I got to be doing shit, and so to practice that, I mean, we spoke on that the other day, and I can't remember what we came up with, but we had a pretty good sort of solution as to, I feel it's got to come from a place of compassion, where it's like, hey, I've got all this information now I have to give it, like I have to share it, because in the laws of reciprocity, in order to receive, you must give. So giving that and sharing that and putting it in action, and then in turn that's going to allow for you to continue to level up, because you're gaining the feedback.
Yeah, for sure. What you give is what you get.
Yeah. So I don't know how else to phrase that, and I remember we came up with some.
Well said.
Yeah.
I think you realise with like a part of the journey of personal development is giving. I think that becomes a super part. Like you can almost selfishly do it for yourself too.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, initially it's got to be. I reckon there's what's the triangle? I want to say it's Myers-Briggs, but it's not. There's the triangle of like where it shows like survival is like your food. Do you know that triangle? What's that called?
It's saying
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You got the triangle here, and you got your base, which is filled with just food, shelter, water, stuff like that. You go up to the next category, and it's like your work and stuff, and your passion and stuff. And then right at the top is self-actualization, like where it's like the epitome of the top of the triangle is like, oh, you have this great awareness of self, and then. Then there's the layer above the top of the triangle, which is shared actualization. It's like, once I have all this gained wisdom, it's like, how can I share this with people, and how can I give this? And that is like clocking Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's actually going beyond because it's like there's self-awareness, and there should be like awareness. There's just awareness, and it's like now we're taking in the account and the accounting into life, like giving and actually sharing our awareness with others. So I feel that was a hard time for me. It was good though. The challenge to the win. How about you, bro?
Yeah, myself. Mine's a bit different than both yours. Well, how it starts is took a van, drove it up to Cairns. This was in 2019, I reckon. But I was going up to Cairns to do a fishing course. So I'd been doing a bit of fishing. I mentioned it before on the podcast, I reckon. So I was going up to do this fishing course that was going to get me, a certificate where I could be in a bigger position on the boat, and then, earn more money and work myself up the ranks. So I went to Cairns, stayed at the student accommodation, and entered this fishing course. It was Master 4, I believe it was called. And before the Master 4, you're meant to do the Master 5, this prerequisite course, and I didn't do it. I just sort of jumped in and just went the big one straight away, and soon found out I don't know all. So like, and it was just like, so I sort of jumped in, and it was a lot of logistics. There was maths. There was just a lot of like, I'd been fishing. And it wasn't quite. I was up in Cairns, so it was a lot of like, safety stuff and just navigating, and it was all to do with boats, all to do with the sea, all kinds of things. And so, I started doing that course, and then I was struggling, like, first couple of days, and one of the teachers said, hey, I reckon you should probably drop out and, go back and do the Master 5. And the company I was working for paid for this course already. I'd already come all the way up to Cairns. I was there on my own, stressing. Didn't want to like let down the company or anyone. And I was like, fuck. And then I called my parents. I was like, fuck, this is what's going on. And they were quite supportive. They were like, kind of like, oh, you can do it. And then I did another day, just struggling. And then I just remember making this switch in myself. I said, I'm just going to do it, get it done. Because it's like, if you fail certain subjects as well, you technically like fail the course as well and have to redo that subject and all this stuff. So it was like, you had to get it right. You just get through these stages. So it was like, basically it was learning all this information and then that I had to do. And basically what I did was just applied myself fully. I deleted social media, deleted everything. I'd go for a run in the morning, go to the thing, do the course, and I'd like study all night. And I remember it was just so hard, but I just had this full commitment just to do my best and study. And then like, it was just, I remember I was just at my edge, like learning it, and I was getting the test back. Oh, passed by 1 mark, I'm on to the next stage, or like this and that. And then I'm asking extra questions, and it was like, and then I got the next test, I'm like, fuck, I'm on, like, and I just kept, and I like seen other people struggling, and then I was starting to like, get ahead of other people in the class, and I was like, oh wow.
Oh wow.
But I was like, I was spending time, what the lesson was like, basically, if you commit yourself and you dedicate yourself fully, you can pretty well overcome anything, because, I had the teachers telling me I couldn't do it, and like that was a bit like, I was a bit like, fuck you, a bit like that. So I had a bit of that energy, like, no, I'm going to do this. Yeah. So it was like, and I just remember, because it was so hard, and like you were talking before, that feeling of winning at the end, was so good. And I ended up you have to do like an oral presentation, and, that was like a bit down the track, but I passed it, and I just remember that being like such a hard moment, but because I fully dedicated myself and just locked in, it come through it. So it was just the lesson was just basically, if you fully commit and make that big, like your singular focus, you can do more than you think of, and even though other people may doubt.
I've got a question from that. That's a fucking awesome story, by the way, and kudos. Are you someone that feels like if someone was to be inversely motivated, like someone telling you that you can't do it, like, are you more motivated by that, by someone like proving someone, yeah, I can, or are you more motivated by someone going, let's fucking go, man, we can do this together, or or they both have their place, or how do you, where's that balance between that sort of motivation like that?
I think they both have that place. Sometimes I don't mind that little bit of doubt.
Yeah, like so if I want to prove you wrong.
Yeah. But, if you're with a team and it's like, we can do it, together, then... So I think they both have their place, and I think probably the healthier one is we can do it together.
Yeah.
But...
I think that as well, because team is like, I don't want to let you down, bro.
Yeah.
Either that's another thing.
Yeah, I think having teammates where you don't want to let them down, that's a great thing.
When your teacher's telling you can't, though, you're a bit like, you fucking reckon I won't? Like, I'll show you. Like,
pretty much, eh? It was, and it was like just the fact of being so far away from everything I knew. I was still
Yeah.
pretty young, and like
How
it
old
was
were
just-
you? Did you say 20?
I reckon I was like 21,
Yeah.
20. Yeah, so it was just like, up in this new place. I'd never really been, I don't think I've been there, and it was just like completely out of my comfort zone. No one around me, no one to like do the work for me.
Yeah.
Just teachers doubting me. So I'm there like nightly studying like there. It was just me. And I think I realised that maybe that was it. Realised the power I have when I commit to something and really go in. It's like, wait, I can do it. Maybe it was like rather than relying on other people, it's like, wait, if I can actually show up and do it if I decide.
What a good affirmation. I can do this. I will do this.
Yeah. So it's a real
have
strength
power.
of self
Yeah.
to a degree.
I bet you would remember a lot more of that course than if you had have done 5 prior and then 4. Like, immersion is so powerful, I think, when it comes to learning. It's like, rather than just drip feeding some, like you're going to forget that way quicker. I think,
and it was a lot of book work and all that stuff, which I don't really like, practical stuff, but that's just the degree of it. And ultimately, it's not something that I wanted to do, but it was like, it just proved the fact of committing to something and fully dedicating yourself, you can do it. Have we got time for one more question, or is it? That's pretty well time.
It's pretty well told, mate.
Yeah, we've gone on some tangents. Very good tangents though. But yeah, I reckon.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to do like
summary?
Yeah, like a big takeaway from that, or your greatest lesson within all that, or
what did you guys learn just within that conversation with all that we had? I'm trying to think as well.
I just learnt more about both of you guys. Like I learned, I didn't know that story about you and how you went up there at 21 and just like, because it just made me reflect on my own university career or whatever that was. And same, that was a challenge for me because I wasn't passionate about it. Like I only went there so I could escape my initial boss. So I quit my first job to say I'm going to uni because I'd hated him. And and so I was like, yeah, I'm going to uni, so I've got to leave, and then went to uni and then signed up, and just because yet again people pleasing for my mates to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to uni, when really I should have probably just separated myself and gone to Australia, which is where my heart was initially. But anyway, all these good lessons, but yeah, learning that about you and how. Yeah, you had this adversity to show up and it was just you. Like I was about to say I envy that. Like I was about to say, but I admire that.
Yeah.
Because
I should say I feel like I did call some people for help on some certain things, but it was basically just me.
Yeah, totally. But no, I had people that I knew as I was entering uni because that was safe, that was comfortable for me. You chose the hard route, you chose the uncomfortable path, and you gained so much more out of it. You've walked away with a stronger sense of I feel for you, and 100%. Your ability to actually you can now compare yourself against that moment and probably go, that situation was fucking hard, but guess what? I came out on top, and I'll fucking do it again when I apply myself in this area or something like that. And then from you as well, Cass, I learned the whole fighting regime that you go through and how and I even learned a bit about water and stuff, and nutrients and calories and stuff like that, which is and then just the whole mentality of how you come into these things. And I love the story about how you went 3 rounds operating out of your subconscious, and I'd love to dive more into that and learn how the fuck that happened. But yeah, those are some key takeaways for me. So
cool.
My key takeaways would be that, exactly the same as what you kind of just mentioned. Everything we all spoke about was off experience. So I think kind of looking back on experiences like that and realising that we're currently going through experiences that we'll then grow from, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So everything that we're going through, whether it's what we may consider negative or positive right now, is shaping our future selves right now. You know what I mean? So I think just having a moment to reflect and see how those are the things that shaped each and every one of us is That's happening now. We just don't really think about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like history repeats itself, just
Yeah.
in kind of a slightly different iteration of
Yeah.
a previous experience.
Yeah, that's cool. I learned a lot about yous too. And Cass, I learned like the importance. I just loved how you talked about being grounded, being present, and you got this big thing coming up, and you walk into the ring and you stare at your feet, and so dropping into present. And you're also talking about that with your mantra, being grounded. So I realised like that's such a big thing that we need. Something I try to focus on as well. So I love how you like talked about that, and just this like ability to like keeping calm in the chaos. And I learned it sounds like that when you were 25 and you went back for COVID. Sounds like that was a heavy time. Maybe even looking in and all that stuff, and then the power that you've found in journaling was pretty cool.
Saviour.
Yeah. It shows that like that deep internal reflection, can help shine outward onto the world. Like if you really dig deep, you said you were just journaling until, don't know, you couldn't get your pen off the page or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But so that, and also the fact where we talked about those challenges and adversity and how much they've shaped us.
Yeah.
So to continually put ourselves into areas where we are going to be challenged because it's shaped us and increased, our identity or strength or, ability to show up, all that stuff. So voluntarily chucking ourselves into challenging situations is, something to always do. I feel like because life can get more comfortable, as you get things and do things. So, but that's the way to grow.
I think we could leave on a more beautiful outro. Well done, dudes.
What a pod.
What a pod.
Work.
Nice work, fellas. Hey, thanks everyone for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next one.